It's dark in the recording booth. It's dark in the recording booth. I'm gonna make it go higher and higher and higher. Cause my mic is too low. You're gonna hear some unpleasant sounds just now.
Like this, it's just me handling my mic.
No, it's at the appropriate height. It's an average height. Some would even say I'm tall.
Anyway, here's a PSA. Make a lock gesture over your actual door, as if locking a spectral version of your lock before you go out and before you lock your actual lock. This way, your soul will know to stay inside that day. Beware, if something happens to your house whilst your soul is in there, you might get separated and your body and mind might grow completely autonomous, like a vampire. The end for such a creature would be grim. Truer death than death still. But if you gotta lock in, you gotta lock in, you know? If you gotta lock in, you gotta lock in, so you gotta do what you gotta do, man. I get it. If you gotta lock in, sister, you gotta lock in, sister. I get it. Anyway, this just in.
I'm unhappy, but I'm vain. I'm unhappy, but I'm vain. I'm unhappy, but I'm vain. I'm unhappy, but I'm vain, 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 vain. Ooh.
This is James Harlot. That was a voice check.
Get up, get up, get up, get the fuck up,
I'm just about ready to wake up from this dream and start this broadcast.
Whew. 606 FM, Wretched City Radio. Remember to breathe really slowly out of your nose, like a dragon. And now back to our usual programming. 12 p.m. Rise, sigh, growl, grab head with palms and slap myself twice gently across the face. Drag myself out of bed. 12:30 p.m. Grind herbs, make breakfast, poached eggs, sausages, avocados, freshly squeezed orange juice, other things, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, coffee, 3 cubes of sugar, big mug, and milk until it turns into a perfect roasted brown. Reflect on how we've been through insurmountable loss, but the little things still bring delights. And this is enough for another day, as previously narratively established. 1:30 p.m. End reverie. Tune into radio programs. Find that they all come incredibly short as compared to my own. Nonetheless, as I switch to recorded tapes and vinyls of American radio programs of the 30s, 40s, and 50s, I like to imagine that one day technology will allow us to listen to all radio stations in the world instantaneously, whenever we want, complete with backlogs and archives, time zones a thing of the past. This is not far from possible today if we listen to the musings of Professor McLuhan. You know the one who resides in the melting pot district of the old town, preaching whilst acid-picked teens gape in awe. Remember? He teaches classes at the Jean Baudrillard College of the Science, you know, the building recently clad by the Temple of the Harlot. McLuhan likes to think that we live in a sort of global village today. He likes to think that technology is an extension of our bodies. This microphone, an extension of me. Your radio receiver, an extension of you. And this extension of me going into this extension of you. These extensions are making love like stockings, brushing on legs. Information, brushing on information. The intersection of mediums. It makes me think of soul delay. The idea that one soul travels slower than one body. High speed travel isn't something we are used to, not in the mythical sense. And we often truly arrive where we are much later than we've physically arrived. There is a gap. There is a soul gap. Different events or moments anchor you into your new earth, quite literally grounding you. Narrative is what brings in the soul. 2:30 p.m. Shit. I've been in a trance for the past hour, listening to tapes and staring straight into the sun. My house stinks of smoke and time. Shave. Cut myself shaving in the exact spot I always cut myself in. Slap myself gently twice across the face whilst making eye contact straight in the mirror. Put on the big boy pants. My nightgown is unacceptable at work. 3 p.m. Scheduled ride to VCR radio station. Sandy Satire's taxi service provides a driver. Pleasant chit-chat with the driver. Fall asleep in car because of hangover. Dream a soft dream. Alternate universe in which hippie cannibal cultists captured you and brought you to an old estate. The one you grew up around, the very place you learned to walk, but it has been taken away from your friends, the original proprietor, and now these cultists are walking around doing their thing. The boss has the face of a famous Hollywood actor which shall remain unnamed for legal reasons. You decapitate him using a rock.
That sucks, man. Bummer. Guess we gotta eat Larry now. It's a shame to waste. It's bad for the environment, and we're all about sustainability.
I am suddenly alone after a cultist says this to me. A black fox and a red fox are playing around me in this pictorial garden. I can tell one is domestic because it has floppy ears, like some sort of Soviet experiment in domesticating animals. The other is pure, unbound, and wild. They both flee into the woods, and I walk inside the kitchen where a meat pie is on the stove. I figure it's their leader, Larry, cooked up. Unpressured by anybody, I take a little bite. After all, I was the one who decapitated him using a rock. I wake up with a taste of dry chicken and bread pudding in my mouth. I am still in the car, 3:30 p.m., rush hour. Just got to the studio. Driver woke me up gently. Sand is such a sweetheart. Uncontrollable cravings for fried chicken. Get fried chicken. Get a second coffee. Roll another joint. On air in 15 minutes. 4:44 p.m. 16:44. 4:44 p.m. Look at your watch spontaneously and see this exact number. This is the number you always see when you check the time. Wonder about synchronicities. Remember, it's half the lucky digit of the one that got away. It's also your birthday. Tell the entire city and whoever else gets this frequency exactly how your day went. Overshare on live air. Tell the city how you feel. Close your eyes. Right now. Right now. Right now. I'm closing my eyes. This is an exercise my therapist is teaching me. He is an acolyte of the House of Harlot. It has to do with fully giving in to the seduction of the signs around us. It has to do with not fighting anymore. I'm not fully sure I know what that means, but here I go. I breathe once, twice, thrice. Long inhale. Pause. Long exhale. Pause. I drink coffee in gas stations. I stare at the sun. I am in a dream I had once. When I was physically transported to a tumbleweed town, I was watching on an old TV screen. My soul, body, and mind moved within a piece of media like through a portal, engulfed in the womb of a story, of a screen, of a landscape. The trees outside the window twist like silhouettes, and I understand that I need to stay a while so they don't get lonely. I get funny looks and meaningful looks and meaningless looks. I smile and I chuckle, but nothing is funny in particular. It's more of a stylistic choice. The idea of laughing, the idea of smiling, the artifice of a countenance. I'm chuckling because I seem to be privy to some sort of universal witticism, a hidden understanding, a hot take, a cosmic joke. Rejuvenating corner store stylistic choice, bathing in sensory deprivation word soup. 5 p.m. Do you think the first aliens we will encounter will understand jazz? Perhaps they will like it even without understanding.
I'm unhappy, but I'm paid. That's the way it seems to stay. I'm unhappy, but I'm paid. Since the day you went away, you said that I'm so pretty. You said that I'm so beautiful. But you also said I'm crazy, too crazy for you, baby. So now I'm unhappy, but I'm vain, and that's the way it seems to stay. I'm unhappy, but I'm vain. And that's the way it seems to stay. I'm unhappy, but I'm vain. I'm unhappy, but I'm vain. And that seems the way to stay.
A listener sent this in. It seems to be some sort of science fiction story. It's a very short story. It's titled One-Page Short Story for People with Short Attention Spans. Also known as William. Okay? Alright, let me do this. William drove for a living. Driving was his life and his will. His silver carriage flew and rode and swam and bloomed the freeway in the sky. He drove people around in his big grey car. People talked.
The vehicle is acclimatized for the next customer. They are passionate about basketball. Their preferred music genre is electronic, like small talk.
His modified hack tool was his way up in the world. It scanned the social media profiles of all customers as they booked their ride through the app that was linked with the mandatory central registry of all citizens. Thus, William was always prepared. Each ride shocked the customers as a synchronicity. Introverts were greeted with a quiet, discreet nod. Extroverts were thrown in the middle of a joke or a conversation. The AC was always set on cold or warm or mild based on what the user posted about the weather 3 years ago on some obscure thread or another. William, through his personalized hack tool, knew everything he had to know about his customers before the ride. His business experience was providing comfort, the kind of comfort you cannot provide without an absolute invasion of privacy. Country, blues, jazz, rock, synth, electronic. His car danced as he rode, and the customers were rewarded, and he got tips and ratings, and tips and ratings, and tips and ratings, and William was moving up in the world, because the only way to play a game in the truest sense is to cheat. The future was now. William willed it into being. That's that. Fast forward, 20 years later, William is now in his 40s. His personalized hack tool has developed a sort of autonomy, a will of her own. It developed a voice like a woman. And now this big grey car flies around in the sky, driving people around and chatting them up. Customers avoided talking to the artificial intelligence at first, but after a while, driverless or not, the experience was still there. Why did a driver need to be corporeal after all? William stayed home and hung out in virtual reality simulations with his friends while his car worked for him. She kicked back a portion of the money. He had no idea what she did with the rest, but who cares? She was a hard worker. He made enough. When Matilda, because that was her name, Matilda, would break down, William would fix her, refurbish her. At night in the garage they would talk. They had become such good friends over the years. His personalized hack tool personality construct car plugin, whose name was Matilda, was part of the future. The future was now, and Matilda the car was the one who willed it into being. Well, I'm not sure I understood much of this. I don't know what social media is or what electronica sounds like, and I don't know what an hack tool is, but I seem to get the gist of it. A man's car became self-aware and started doing his work for him. I can see why this is a comforting story for you, whoever you are sending this in. Well, send more stories in and I will read them.